Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. Also, if you are new, welcome to my chaotic world of motherhood. As a mom of four, I often feel like I'm juggling a circus act between toys and laundry and meals that nowadays seem like they disappear in seconds. It often feels like a never-ending, just roller coaster of stuff to get done. But today I'm diving into the hard truths of keeping a clean house, especially with a big family. And spoiler alert, perfection is overrated, but remember, joy is not. So let's embrace the mess together. Now, I think it's really important to start with realistic expectations. Perfection is unrealistic. I know you guys always hear me say progress over perfection, and it's just one of those things. With 4 kids, a spotless home is often an unattainable goal. So it's okay to embrace the mess and have it be a part of your life. I feel like it's really important to focus on functionality. A clean house doesn't always mean tidy. So it's really important to prioritize areas that impact daily life, like the kitchen, the living room. Those high traffic areas are always going to be the areas that really affect the family dynamic and your mental health way more than anywhere else. I know with having 4 kids, if you're new here, my name's Cambria, by the way. My 4 kids range from 5 months old to 12 years old. I have 2 older boys who, like I said, are 12 and 9, and then I have 2 smaller girls who are 4 and 5 months old. So there is always something going on and something that needs to be done. So I think it's really important to have a good time management skill. I know finding time can often be difficult. Juggling kids' schedules means often cleaning takes a back seat. It's about fitting chores into the busy day. I know I've talked before about the beating the clock cleaning setup. So it's basically set like a 10, 20, 30-minute timer. That way you're hitting those daily doses of clean. Small, manageable cleaning tasks can be more often effective than marathon cleaning where you're just feeling overwhelmed and honestly just exhausted by the end of it. I also think it's really important to make it a team effort. It's really important to remember you're not the only one that lives in your house. And if someone lives in your house, they should be responsible of helping maintain it, not just you. So involve the kids, involve your spouse, involve anyone that lives in the area. Pretty much the only people in our house that don't have chores is Bailey and Minnie and their dogs. So they pretty much just contribute to the mess. But assigning age-appropriate chores can teach responsibility, and it also lightens the load. If you're trying to figure out what is an age-appropriate chore for your kids, just kind of give you some of what we do in our house. So my 4-year-old, she helps with tidying up around the house. She'll also help with unloading the dishwasher. Now, she doesn't unload the entire dishwasher, but things like she can do the silverware, she can do the Tupperware, anything on the lower level in the kitchen, she can do. So we keep her involved where she can. And then obviously with the older kids, it's a little bit easier. The boys do their own laundry. It's something that we've set up a schedule where every Saturday or Sunday, they're not always the best at staying on schedule, they do their laundry. That way it is all clean for the next week of school. Just getting them in that routine as well, because not only is routine good for you, but it is also very good for kids. You're teaching them responsibility. You're teaching them how to be good, productive adults as they get older. It's funny, Bobby and I just had this conversation the other day with the kids because his mom was very much a hands-on mom. She did the laundry, she did everything, and a lot of us as moms are like that because we want to do that. Like for me, doing things for my family is like my love language. So I enjoy doing those things for my family. But I also know it is important to teach them. Bobby was telling them how he didn't know how to do his laundry and a bunch of things till he joined the military and really didn't have a choice but to figure it out. Just know you can make it fun. Turning cleaning into a game or a challenge can motivate your kids and make them participate a lot easier. So for Freya, I will often be like, hey, mama's going to clean the family room. Let's see who can get the room clean the fastest. You go clean your room and I will clean the family room and we'll see who gets it done first. Those are just little things that can make it more fun. At 4, it's a lot easier to do it because you can turn almost anything into a game. It's a little harder when they get older. But with the older boys, I like to just set a clock. Hey, can you boys give me 15 minutes to do a quick tidy of the entire house? After those 15 minutes, you guys can go back to playing video games, talking to your friends on the phone, whatever it is. But just give me 15 minutes. Little strategies like that will make it easier on you because you're getting the kids involved and it makes it less of a fight. The other thing to keep in mind is starting it when they're young. When you start it when they're young, it's a lot easier than implementing these tasks once they've gotten older and they've already gotten into a routine that mom just does it. Now, one thing that I feel like we don't see much on social media is the mess, or we see like I feel like almost staged mess. I don't know. I feel like it often is very unrealistic. But one thing to keep in mind is mess is a sign of life. It is okay to celebrate the chaos. A messy house means kids are playing, creating, and living. That's totally okay. I think we often misconstrue mess with being dirty. And those are two very different things. I say on a regular basis, tidying and cleaning are two very different things. So do not be afraid of the mess. It's a mindset shift. Instead of viewing mess as a burden, see it as evidence of family bonding and creating memories together. So try not to overwhelm yourself with the idea of mess because, like I said, it's very different. Mess is not dirt. So don't let people fool you that because there's toys on the floors and things like that you can't maintain a clean house. It's two very, very different things. However, jumping off the point of mess, one way to lessen the mess, and I actually find it also helps your kids play and be creative better, is decluttering. Decluttering is key. I'm sure you guys have heard the phrase less is more, but it can't be a more true statement. And I feel like when you're just getting started out, it doesn't feel that way. Like you're like, okay, how can less be more? Like it doesn't feel that way. But I know I have definitely learned over the years of decluttering more and more that it really is so true. I've noticed that as I've taught my kids to declutter when it comes to their toys and their clothes, that one, it's just a good lesson for them to have ingrained in them, but two, watching them play is so much more magical. The amount of creativity and everything is just so much more alive. They don't have that like chaos of everything being around. And once you realize like they don't need a million toys, it makes it much more manageable for you as a mom, but also it makes it much more manageable for them as kids. I always think about when I was younger and the idea of being told to go clean your room. I have not always been a very clean and tidy person, and it was so overwhelming. Every time my mom told me to go clean my room, I was so overwhelmed, and a lot of it was just because there was so much stuff. And I feel like as kids, it's a lot easier to get overwhelmed because you're smaller, so everything feels so much larger. Think about when you were 3-4 years old and you needed to get something off the counter, how big those cabinets and counters felt. Well, it's the same thing when it comes to their toys and things. All of that feels so much bigger. So the mess feels so much bigger. So teaching them to declutter also makes it easier for them in the long run. So don't think about the idea of taking things away from your kids and feeling guilty that way. Think about how much mental load you are actually taking off of them. And then in the long run, it is also helping you. And you can obviously do this with your own space also. I bring up the kid stuff because I know often kid stuff can be the area that gets very overwhelming because you have toys everywhere. They're in their rooms, they're in the family room, they're often in the kitchen, they end up in your bedroom. At least that's how it is in my house. Toys end up everywhere. Toys, art supplies, like all the kids' things end up everywhere. But I've even learned, like my kitchen counters, I try and keep them fairly decluttered and with things that are practical and used on a regular basis. So I like to decorate with things like the cake board and cutting boards in the corner because we use those. I'll put baked goods on the cake plate and I grab my cutting boards multiple times a day when I'm cooking and stuff. So I decorate with more practical stuff, but it then makes it in the long run when I'm going and cleaning my kitchen a lot easier. I don't have to move a million things to get my counters clean. But coming off of decluttering, the next thing to really keep in mind is routine is essential. It's really important to establish some sort of cleaning routine. Now, it doesn't have to be perfect. Honestly, flexibility is very, very important when it comes to life with kids because life with kids is very unpredictable. So being prepared to adjust the routines as needed is also very important. But consistency is key because doing those little consistent tasks every single day make it a lot easier to stay on top of the big picture. So a cleaning routine does not need to be overwhelming. Just picking little things that are like maintenance tasks to do every single day help you so much. So for me, every single day, unless I'm like really sick or something, there's certain things that get done every day. I make sure my dishes are done every single day. My kitchen to me is one of those areas that when my kitchen is clean, I feel so much better. So this is something that I do every single morning. I am not a nighttime well, I shouldn't say I'm not a nighttime person. I am not a nighttime cleaner. When dinner is over, all I want to do is spend time with my kids, spend time with my husband, and relax. Now, that's not everyone. A lot of people prefer cleaning at night. So not every routine has to be exactly the same as the next person, which is why I like to tell people that I'm not a nighttime cleaner. I prefer to wake up in the morning and clean the kitchen. It's just what works for me. So I get up, I do the dishes, I make sure all the counters are wiped down. And then later on, either right after cleaning the kitchen or right before cleaning the kitchen, it just kind of depends on the day, I make sure my bedroom is also cleaned up. So making my bed, cleaning off the nightstands. Even if I don't get to it right away in the morning and it's later in the day, I just make sure it's done somewhere in the day. At some point of the day, I make sure that my bed is made and my nightstands are cleaned off. And I actually had someone ask me the other day, how much time in a day do I spend cleaning? Like on a regular day, how much time do I spend cleaning? And this obviously does vary from day to day because certain chores are going to take longer. So there may be a day that I spend 2 hours cleaning. However, it's never 2 consistent hours. I feel like that's really important to mention. I never clean for 2 hours straight. It's a total of 2 hours. So if I have deep cleaning projects to get done, I may do 30 minutes here, 30 minutes there. But on like a daily basis, I probably clean for about an hour because morning is usually about 30 minutes to get everything done. And then throughout the day, just little cleaning tasks here and there, 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there. It's probably another 30 minutes. So in an entire day, on a regular cleaning schedule, it's probably an hour worth of cleaning, but it's always broken down into much smaller, manageable tasks. Now, I say that because self-care matters. I feel like we often forget about self-care. It is so easy to get burnt out, and it's really important to avoid the burnout. Don't sacrifice your well-being for a clean house. It's okay to take breaks and allow yourself grace. Like often our hardest critics is ourselves. So sometimes it's best to get off of social media if it's overwhelming you or making you feel less than. That's why I always preach the progress over perfection, because I look around on social media and it's always one of two things: either a picture perfect home, or nowadays I feel like the chaotic mess homes are very trending also. And I feel like both of those can be very detrimental, because the picture perfect, like I said, if you're a mom and especially if you have a big family, perfection is unrealistic. At least if you're trying to live a happy, fun, chaotic life with your kids. But there's always going to be messes, and that's okay. But then on the other hand, I see a lot of these houses that it's chaotic to the max. Now, I'm not saying no one lives that way. And if you're in that spot, that's okay. We often forget that some people have these issues for different reasons. If it's just anxiety, health issues, whatever. But I'm just saying that isn't the normal. But I feel like with social media, it's kind of tricking our brain into thinking either your house has to be perfect or you can just let your house go, and that's completely normal also. So don't burn yourself out, because I really don't want to see you ever feel like either of those are a realistic situation. But once again, remember, this is not a hard, strong rule situation. There are exceptions to everything. So don't come at me saying that my house is always perfect and I have 12 kids, because you are the exception. You are not the rule. But just trying to avoid that burnout and just being more realistic will mentally take so much stress off of you. All right, now that we went down that little rant, with all of that, make sure you celebrate the wins. Acknowledge and appreciate the little victories, like a clean kitchen or a organized play area. Those things will slowly help with a mental shift of cleaning your house. Plus, it is just important to remember, if you got a clean kitchen and a tiny or a tidy play area, those are things to be joyful for and appreciative for. Don't sell yourself short. I know I often do. I am definitely the type where I'll be like, man, I really didn't get anything done today. And I've been trying to, when I tell myself that, because I do that regularly, to sit down and think about what I did for the day. Now, you can make a list, or you can just do this in the back of your head. I usually do it in the back of my head, and then I'll sit down and I'll be like, okay, I took Bjorn to school today. I'm thinking about just what I've done this morning so far. I've already taken Bjorn to school. I've made food for the baby. I've tidied up the kitchen, made breakfast. I've already done that, and it's only 9 a.m. right now. But as moms, I feel like often if we don't do this huge major project, we can feel like we didn't do anything. We think of these how do I word it? These daily habits as not doing anything. But we've made dinner, and we made doctor's appointments and signed permission slips and played with the kids and things like that. And it's really important to realize that's not nothing. Like, you didn't get nothing done today. Those things are just as important as anything else. Now, back to a little bit of what I was talking about before, where if you are starting out and your house is chaotic and you don't know where to start and everything, it is really important to accept help. Asking for support does not make you a failure. I promise. I know it can be overwhelming or maybe embarrassing to accept help, but I would just want you to know a lot of us have been there before. Like, I think we've all at one point or another in our life have been at a point where we needed help for whatever reason. And your form of help may look different than my form of help, but we have all been there before. So don't hesitate to ask friends or family, or hiring a cleaning service just to get the ball rolling, get it started. It's okay to do those things. Sometimes you just need a friend to come over and chat with you while you're doing stuff. Like, you just need that sense of friendship, which I tell you guys all the time. I love this community because often just getting on here and chit-chatting with you guys, you guys are my form of friendship. I am such a homebody and introvert that, I love this community. I love getting on here and being able to chat with you guys and then hang out in the comments and things like that. And you guys motivate me to get so much done. Also, a lot of places do have community resources that offer organizing or cleaning assistance if needed, especially if you are have some sort of disability or maybe you're elderly, anything like that. So friends, family, cleaning services, but also community resources. There are options out there. So please, 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 if you are in a situation, don't be afraid to accept help and ask for support. I do love watching these videos back though, and just seeing Freya helping me. It's just, I don't know, I think it's really, really cute. She was very helpful on this day, which kind of brings me into the next one of modeling healthy habits. I do think it's really, really important to show kids the importance of cleanliness and organization, but showing them through your actions and letting them know that it doesn't always have to be perfect. You don't have to worry about everything being perfect, but keeping those habits is a good skill. Teaching these skills early will help with lifelong habits for your kids. So definitely start it young and teach your kids how to clean and organize in a age-appropriate way. Helps you out as a mom because a little bit of a helping hand is a good thing, but in the long run you are setting your kids up for success. So think about it that way also, that you are helping your kids in the long run, just by modeling those healthy habits. And you don't have to have them do a lot. It is one of those things because I do often have people ask me, especially on days like today where you see me going into the boys' room and Freya's room to clean up, where I will often get comments from people being like, oh, you shouldn't be cleaning your kids' rooms, they should be doing that. And one, I do have my kids do it. I go in their rooms about once a week, once every 2 weeks, kind of just depends on the situation. On this day, I knew I needed to clean the beddings. These windows were getting filthy. You couldn't even tell on camera, but they were getting filthy. And when I go in there to do these type of tasks, I like to just do the whole room. That way, when the boys get home from school or whatever, that they get to have that sigh of relief because they know mom came in and did their job. But realistically, the way you run your house, and this is really important to keep in mind, is no one else's business. It is no one's business how you run your house. So yes, it is important to teach your kids these healthy habits, but do it in a way that works for you, because it's no one else's business. So I do like to tell people to teach these kids these habits and stuff, but if you want to go in your kids' rooms and clean their room, it is totally okay. Just find other ways to teach them these habits and model it to them, so that when they get older and have a house of their own, or go off to college, that they can still like manage their life on their own. I do hear often from, so it's crazy. You guys may or may not know, I guess. But when it comes to you guys that follow me, I have such a wide range of ages, and I love it. Like, I hear from some of you guys who mention, like, I'm the age of your kids, and you're watching my channel and you enjoy it, and I love that. But then I also have the other side where I've gotten comments from kids in high school that watch my channel and really enjoy it, or kids in college that didn't grow up with these habits being modeled to them, so they watch because it's teaching them how to take care of their life and things like that. So it's really important that even if you're like me and you find joy in taking care of your kids, to sometimes take a step back and let them do it on their own. Actually, just an example, and this has nothing to do with cleaning, but one area in my life that I have had to take the back seat at least once a week. I don't do it every day because I still enjoy doing this, but at least once a week, I make a meal for dinner and I don't serve everyone their food. And you may be like, Camry, what? But I have always very much enjoyed, I make dinner, I serve the kids, like I make their plates, I serve them, I then serve Bobby, and then I sit down and eat. And some of you may think that's crazy, but I really, really enjoy it. But just about a year ago, I started realizing that my boys had to ask how to make their plates when we went to like families' houses. And I'm like you would think it's just a simple task, but they'd never done it. So they're like, how am I supposed to like serve myself up? And that is when I realized, I'm like, okay, I love serving my family, but I really need to take a step back and at least once a week allow my kids to make their own plates. And like I said, that sounds crazy because it's such a simple task, and I never even thought about it until it was in my face that was something that they needed to learn. So this was a lot harder when the boys were younger compared to now, but it is really important to embrace the journey. Now, you may be wondering why I'm saying that was harder when the boys were younger, but it's because of the phrase, it's a phase. I feel like when the kids were younger, it was a lot harder for that to actually like really feel like it was true. Because some phases are definitely a lot harder than others. But it is true. I will tell you, now having older kids and younger kids, the phrase of it's a phase is a very true thing. It's important to remind yourself that kids grow up and the messes will eventually get easier. I promise. Like I said, sometimes when you're in the thick of it, it's really hard to feel like that is the truth, but it is. So focus on enjoying the moments rather than stressing about the mess, because it's really easy to forget about the important things. It's easy to forget memories over mess. So try to keep that in mind, that it's about the memories way, way more than the mess. Because I promise you, as they get older, I think about that with Xander. Xander being my oldest, 12 years old, his armpit hair is growing in and his voice is changing, and the boy is almost taller than me. And it's one of those things that like my heart feels so much joy as I see these things because I see him growing up. But it also is like heartbreak at the same time because my baby is not so much a baby anymore. But I can tell you right now, what I remember as the kids were younger, it's not the sleepless nights. It's not the temper tantrums. It's not the mess. It's the laughter and the joy and the family time. Like, those are the things I remember from the kids as they get older. And those are the things that I'm really trying to focus on with the girls. And I know if you're an older sibling, I hear it from my older siblings all the time. I'm one of the younger siblings. And they'll constantly be like, oh, mom and dad never did that with us. And now as a mom, I'm like, okay, but I get it. Like, you're often with your older kids, you're learning. Like, they're learning with you. No one gave you an owner's manual when you left the hospital. They just sent you home with a baby and expected you to raise it. So I'm hoping that if you are in that like new mom phase, that you will take this to heart, that you're not going to remember the mess and everything. So if just focus on those memories, because those are the ones that are going to last. And I realize that right now it may not feel that way. The mess, the sleepless nights, all those things may feel so overwhelming, but in the long run, those are the things that you forget. The things that you remember are the memories of the joy and happiness and family time together. Now, we are getting to that time of year for spring cleaning, so let's talk a little bit about seasonal cleaning. Okay, but while I say that, you guys know me. I don't like the idea of saving everything for spring cleaning. So when I talk about seasonal cleaning and focusing on the seasons, I feel like it's important to tackle deep cleaning in manageable chunks by focusing on one area or task per season instead of overwhelming yourself with like all at once, all the spring cleaning. So we do spring clean in our house. Like, it's not like, oh, I don't like spring cleaning, so we don't spring clean. That is not true. But breaking it down. So spring cleaning. Oh, I had to show you this. This was my hair snake that got stuck under the couch. Oh, gotta love Bailey. He sheds so much, but it's okay. We love him. That's what it's important. So seasonal cleaning. So spring cleaning for us is focusing a lot on like outdoor stuff. This is the time of year where we like to make sure that the gardens are getting cleaned up and just things like that. So we try and break stuff down. But the other big thing is we do make it a family affair. So like one of the big projects we want to get done, and this may not just be in spring, it may also be over summer, is redoing our backyard. If you've been with my channel, you know this, but if you're new here, you may not. But our backyard floods horribly during storms. And with that, every time it floods, the grass just completely dies. So this past hurricane season, it like destroyed our backyard. We have such like almost no grass on the side where it floods that Bobby and I really want to focus on leveling out the yard, putting in some sort of drainage system, and then getting grass again, because it kind of be nice not to just have dirt in our backyard, dirt and sand. So that's one project that we're going to be focusing on. So just the other weekend, Bobby and Xander went outside and took the trampoline apart. It had kind of gotten wrecked during the last hurricane, so we wanted to take that apart. But we got the kids involved where they can. Freya helped go out there and just clean up some of the broken toys and little things like that. Just making sure that everyone's a little bit involved once again, you're teaching them ways that will help them as they get older, but it's also taking a lot of that burden off of you, and you can make it fun, like, hey, let's do this, that way we can have this reward. If it's the reward of, hey, like for us, I really want to put a fire pit in our backyard, so that's our reward. It may not happen right away, but letting the kids know, like, we want to get this done. That way we can put a fire pit in the backyard. We can do some more nights and have tea and Papa over for a bonfire, things like that. The little rewards that you as an adult are really going to enjoy, but the kids also are looking forward to it as well. Now, I am definitely guilty of this as well, and I'm trying to do better, especially this year. It's one thing Bobby and I really are trying to focus on, but it's being mindful about consumption. I said this before, but less stuff equals less mess. So be mindful about what you bring into your home. It's really easy to do like a big decluttering task and take all that stuff to Goodwill. You go on that side, you go up to the doors, they bring out the little rolly cart, you put all your stuff in, and you feel so good because you did this really good declutter. And then you turn around and jump on Amazon. Or you just go park in the front of Goodwill and see what treasures you can find, because, you know, going thrifting and stuff can feel like a treasure hunt. So, yes, that is like a big goal of ours this year, is mindful consumption, because it is about quality over quantity. Invest in fewer high quality items that can withstand the chaos of family life, I feel like is a lot more important. We are also trying to focus on buying less brand new, like trying to do a lot more building it ourselves, thrifting it, Facebook marketplacing it. We're just trying to be a lot more aware of where we're spending our money, and little ways to help out just everything. The idea of how much waste nowadays goes into landfills and stuff, and a lot of that has to do with the day and age we're in, where it's so easy to buy new things. You jump on Amazon and it's here in a day, 2 days. Like, it's a lot easier to overconsume nowadays than it has ever been. You used to have to go out and go shopping. Nowadays, I'm up in the middle of the night, like with the baby, and I can be on Amazon just scrolling random stuff. Like, that's not good. And even when it comes to like TikTok or Instagram or Facebook, like there's ad after ad after ad of things to buy. Now, don't get me wrong, I have found some of my best products on those different sites. So I'm not hating on it by any means, but being just a little bit more mindful. So one trick I have been doing is I have been putting stuff in like my Amazon cart and leaving it there. I do not press checkout right away. And then at the end of the month, I will go through my cart and see what is in there and what I still am like, ooh, I still want that. And what is like, oh, that was just kind of a spur of the moment thing. I don't really need that. That's just one little trick I have been doing, is not pressing buy right away and just giving myself really time to think about it before pulling the trigger. Now, this is one of those things that I've said it before. I'll say it again. You'll hear it a bajillion times. I don't love cleaning, which is why I think it's important to focus on the why. Now, everyone's why can vary a little bit. So for me, I deal with a seizure disorder. My brain doesn't work like everyone's else. So I get overwhelmed very easily. And for me, dealing with depression and anxiety and being neurodivergent, my why is my mental health. If my house is chaotic and messy, like my brain just, it's really hard to explain, but it just feels, if my house is chaotic and messy, my brain feels chaotic and messy, if that makes sense. And when my brain feels chaotic and messy, I'm more apt to fall into anxiety and depression and things like that. So that is my reason of why I maintain or our house the way I do. But like I said, for everyone, it can be a little bit different. Other reasons can be health. Do you have health issues? I know my youngest son deals with asthma and allergies. That's another big reason why I started learning a lot more about cleaning and things like that. Like when Bobby and I first got married, our life looked a lot different because I was young 20s and I was still learning. Like I was learning motherhood and being a wife and things like that. But then my second son was born and he had these different health issues, and I learned that his health was better in a clean environment. So keeping up with the dusting and all of those things was a lot better for him. So health. Safety. Do you have some sort of disability where having things all over your floors and stuff like that is a safety issue? But then also teaching your kids those things, teaching your kids that there's different reasons to maintain a clean house. Health-wise, safety-wise, mental health-wise, it's just figuring out what your why is. And then I think the last one I really just want to point out is gratitude for health. I definitely grew up in a day and age where you didn't say sorry to your kids. You didn't really thank your kids. And I'm not hating on that whatsoever. Like, I feel like as the years go, we learn and grow. Just look at our history. Yeah, we've definitely grown, but we still have areas to grow. And I feel like with every generation, we get a little bit better and better. And one area as a mom I really try and focus on is being gracious and like saying thank you when the kids help me. I know some people are like, well, they're just doing what they're supposed to, they're kids. And it's like, you can still say thank you and let them know you appreciate them helping out or your husband helping out. So I do think it's important to show that gratitude for help from your kids and your spouse and friends if friends are helping, and to celebrate the progress, celebrate the milestones, and celebrate the journey. But I really hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, make sure to like, comment, and if you are new, I would love if you would subscribe. I do have videos on this channel every Tuesday and Friday. You guys will always find me here. And if you ever want more content, we do have our family vlog channel that we post on every Sunday and Thursday. So if you want, you could get a lot of me. But I'll see you guys next time. Bye.